All right, week 20 recap for the Comedy Accelerator workshop from December 28th, 2025. So this is the last workshop of the year. We've done 20 of these things down at the Creek and Cave, and I think we're finally getting some traction. It's not easy to teach these or to conduct the workshop because I never know who's going to be there. You never know what level they're going to be at. People have much different interests in different types of comedy that they bring to it. So it kind of needs to be like a one-off, give people some value when they show up, and then also an ongoing thing because some people are showing up every week. This week there's probably somewhere between 15 and 20 people, and a few of them were new and a few of them have been here almost for all 20 sessions. So it's a little bit hard to figure out, but I think we're getting there. During the career half hour, there's a tiger, by the way. The career half hour, that's the official tiger of the Comedy Accelerator workshop. During the career half hour, we talked about last year's Billboard top grossing stand-up tours of the year, topped by Nate Bargatze at $57 million in gross revenue for one guy standing on stage with a microphone. So again, there's a big upside if you can get things tight and turn into a pro that can draw people. We also talked about how I tend to apply Hollywood process to stand-up. So I worked in Hollywood for a long time. I've seen how Hollywood structures creative product. And stand-up usually doesn't do that. Stand-up is like the Wild West of entertainment. It's one person, they do it as well as they can. They get little pieces of help from friends and advice and things like that. But they're doing writing, performing, directing, producing, business management, promotion. They're doing it all, which is a bad idea. Nobody would ever do that with a movie. Nobody would walk into Hollywood and go, I wrote this movie, I'm going to play every part, I'm going to cut everything, I'm going to shoot all the video, all the audio, and I'm going to do all the promotion in the business. It just doesn't make sense. So in the context of making that much money like Nate Bargatze, almost $60 million in 1 year of stand-up, it seems to me it makes a lot more sense to professionalize stand-up process and development and see if you can create some super stand-ups, some super tours much more quickly and turn these things into product. That's always been my theory, and I'm kind of doing that now in the Comedy Accelerator. So we talked about that for the first half hour. Then in the skills and show development part of the workshop, we launched into what we're moving into now, which is hardcore stand-up writing. We sort of started as writing, but I was doing sort of news and talk show writing training at the beginning of this. And then we moved for a section into helping people get better stand-up. And now we're going to do that we did a showcase last week, and I noticed the biggest flaw most people have is script. So we're going to spend all of January learning how to write professional, super pro, infallible stand-up. And that means punchlines. I sent out a thing on Instagram you can go check out of the most commonly used and most powerful stand-up mechanisms, joke writing mechanisms. But essentially it comes down to three things. Can you write punches? Can you tag those punches with extra lines? And can you do act outs? That probably accounts for 80% or more of all stand-up comedy. And if you start looking at stand-up through those lenses, you can start to see it happen over and over again. A comic will find a topic, they'll find an angle into it, they'll write a setup, and they'll hit it with a punchline that causes laughter about that topic. And then they'll tag it with as many more sub-punches and additional lines and act outs as they possibly can. If you get those three things into your writer brain, you can be a pretty strong stand-up writer fast. But I think it really helps to lift them out and look at them as joke writing mechanisms, things that you can learn and practice, and your brain will start to pick them up and do them better and better. I've just seen it happen over and over again. And I know in my own mind, like as I worked and developed as a comedy writer, I know specifically when I learned new techniques a lot of times, especially on a talk show staff. If a writer came in, a new writer, and had a particular new way of writing jokes or a new structure, everybody absorbed that structure. And now you could therefore write those jokes. The mechanisms themselves have been around forever. They get repurposed, but people don't usually learn them in a very structured, formula way. And that's what I'm trying to help people with. So for the next month, everybody's trying to develop 1-minute packets of punchline dense, high quality punchline, pro level stand-up. And that means script that you're getting a laugh at least every 7 to 10 seconds. You're removing every piece of talk, every piece of ligature that doesn't actually create laughter. And you're trying to just write a punchline dense, punchline only stand-up script. I started all this by giving an example. I'll do just a little bit of it here, of a bit that I've recently written, and it's part of a 10 to 15 minute bit probably. But it starts with, I like to bend cliches. I like to go in and rescue cliches and see if I can make them creative again. Something I find fun. And there's a way of, a lot of people used to start stand-up, especially the high energy comics, with, where are my party people at? So this bit literally is me walking out and going, where are my party people at? Communist Party. Comrades. China. China. Come on, chant it with me. Any actual communists here? Right over there? Great. Well, you're buying all the drinks. Your money is our money. That's the way the game is played. So that's how I launch into it. Just there, like in the opening thing of, I rescued where my party people at and bent it by saying Communist Party, adding a backward adjective into the phrase. That's punchline. Comrades, punchline. China, China, punchline. Any communists here, buy drinks. That's four or five punchlines within 10 to 15 seconds of that bit starting. When you get that many punchlines, some people are concerned about, like, well, where do you let the audience rest and the timing? And it doesn't matter. Like, whatever your structure is for delivering those punchlines, that's up to you. The punchlines are the valuable thing. Like, that is ultimately the coin of the realm in stand-up comedy. Do you have great punches? Can you do a tag? Can you tag those punchlines? And can you act those punchlines out? Now, I actually act that out with, Americans don't really understand communism, but we think we know little pieces of it, like shared property. And the act out I do is the only act out I can do, which is a redneck. And the act out is, yeah, shared property. That means everybody on my street owns my truck. And that ain't gonna happen. My truck is not polyamorous. I drive a straight up Ford monogamy. I'm not having a three-way with a Tacoma and a Tundra, some freaky foreign full-size pickups. I'm the only one that gets to slide into my truck. Well, sometimes I let my buddy in there too, but I gotta be there with him. And my dog has full rights. So I'm now doing a character who's acting out this concept of shared property and the punchline of, I don't want to share my truck. Which there's actually a lot going on in that act out. We could talk about it from a mechanical standpoint quite a bit, but it's just an example. So I showed this and then had everybody go up, give everybody the option of going up and doing a 1 minute bit of their own that we were going to come in back into as a writing staff and use the, does it have a clear punchline? Did you do tags? Do you do act outs? Quay was the first person who went up. Quay's been at the workshop for quite a while and is developing nicely. Thought it was really interesting this time because she told a story about getting revenge about a girl in high school who had messed around with her boyfriend. But she told it from a distance. She told it as a meta concept. She told us about it. Then I had her go back and act it out where she showed us how she did this. And it was her having a conversation with this girl. And then she also did the character of the guy. And it killed. As soon as she started doing it as an act out, where it's an acted scene within the monologue, it became real. And she really inhabited it. And it was the first time I think I've seen Quay like really understand the power of the techniques, the mechanics when you do them right, the way that they affect the audience. We had 3 other people go up. Rock talked about his dad again, Soda Pop, who I think is a really interesting character. His script and his character are at odds right now, but we're going to bring those together. Joey did a thing. So we had people go up and work actively on how do we get the script raised up so that even a professional writer would look at it and go, yeah, that's really sharp. There's tons of punchlines. They're super clear, easy to get, funny. There's images. there's act outs, there's all the things that flavor stand-up. So finally, at the end of this workshop, I went back on stage and summarized all this and tried to encourage people to think about this idea of creating 1-minute packets. Stand-ups always packet their comedy. They call it bits, but like I was saying, like I have a capitalist, that chunk of material is going to be a 10 to 15 minute chunk about communism and capitalism. And I'll veer out of communism at one point and talk about capitalism, why capitalism always wins. Because capitalism doesn't sell wheat and scythes. It doesn't sell community, it sells pleasure, like porn. I promise you, capitalists selling porn will always beat communists selling, let's unite the workers. It's like, well, let's unite the workers for real. So we're going to work on that for the whole month. That's all we're trying to do right now. Is I don't want anybody to come through the workshop who doesn't have at least one strong packet of fully professionalized writing script, written stand-up script. From there, we can talk about performing it, getting more character into it, all that kind of stuff. But without the script, it's just going to sit there. And again, that's what I noticed from the showcases, is that people need scripts. So we're going to work on that for the next month. So if you're interested, come on down. It's always free. It lasts from 3 to 5 at Creek and Cave. Always fun. And we will keep working and see if I can write material for the tiger, who I called him something. I had a joke about him, like he something about the mailman. He ate the mailman's finger last week, but he's a wild animal, so you can't really blame him. That's on the mailman. So yeah, there you go. Come back and we will come on down and we will have some fun learning how to write and perform stand-up.